All right, welcome folks to the OpenMRS Developers Forum. We're lucky enough today to have Ryan Creighton and joining us to give us a demo, an update in terms of the work going on with OpenHIE. So Ryan, I'll let you take it away.
Great, thanks, Burke. Okay, so an OpenHIE demo together. Give a demo of how this works because we're using OpenMRS as our point of care system, just so you guys can have an idea of how an OpenMRS system might fit into an OpenHIE compliance health information exchange. Okay, so basically what I'm going to show today is pretty much all listed on this this website here. We actually have a screen cast of the full demo if you want to review that in your own time. We also have, this is out on the OpenHIE wiki at wiki.openhie.org, and just search for OpenHIE demo. Exactly how yourself if you'd on this call. And for the guys on the call, feel free to ask questions anytime. I don't mind pausing and sort of answering questions as we go. But basically what we're going to go through is I'm going to take you through the OpenMRS point of care system and go through the process of pulling down a patient's record, viewing their existing clinical information, so that'll be a document that's stored against them, then creating a new encounter and generating a document for that patient and saving that back up to the health information exchange. So the whole point of OpenHIE is really to share clinical information between sites, so that information at a particular facility, say in an OpenMRS system, can be shared to the national level and then pulled down at other sites. A new clinic that they haven't been to before. So that's kind of the So I was just saying that a lot of the modules that we're using for OpenMRS were built for modules. They were actually my whole college team for a demo that they did, and we've sort of reused them for this OpenHIE demo workflow, and then combined them with some of the OpenHIE backend services, so the OpenHIE, the OpenSHR, and MedXCR, which is another just work. So while this one is a bit cobbled, okay, so I was just saying that a lot of the modules that we're using for this OpenMRS system to show this demo are sort of pieced together from others' work. So we have a couple guys and then some backend services that we wrote, and also the client registry that that the Mohawk guys wrote as well, Mohawk College. So we are working on a newer demo that's based on. All right, so I'm just going to go dive right into the demo now. So I'll just explain what we're going to do. So here we have an OpenMRS system that we've got set up. And what we have installed is an OpenHIE client module that basically adds a few extra things to OpenMRS. So the one thing we get is this OpenHIE patient search. So what this will actually do is, this is for searching the health information exchange, so the national data store of patients and patients' information that we have in the health information exchange, and try to pull in a patient to your OpenMRS instance. So workflow here would be that someone presents that we can't find an OpenMRS system. We want to check the exchange in case they have an existing record. So here we can actually search the health information exchange and get a list of patients that already exist in the system. Well, let's hope this audio option keeps working. Okay, so what I've done now is I've just done an HIE patient search in OpenMRS, and this actually searches the client registry for patients that match the description that I entered. So I just entered the family name of patient because that's the name of the test patients we have in here, and I get a whole list of patients back that are in the client registry at the moment with the option to import them. So if I hit import, what this will do is it'll fetch the full record of that patient from the client registry and show it to me and give me an option to actually finally import the patient into my OpenMRS instance, my local one. So if I choose that, it'll actually create the patients in OpenMRS and take me to their dashboard. So let's do that now. And while we wait for that, can you guys still hear me? Is everything still working?
Yeah, no, it sounds great.
Okay, good. Okay, so what this has done is it's now imported the patients into the OpenMRS system from the client registry. And at the same time, what it's also done is it's searched for any existing clinical documents that this page has. So you see we get this extra tab, HIE documents. So there's one document that's available. It gives us a few brief details and options to view and import the document. So if we click on view, we can get a render of what this document looks like. So it pulls it out of the shared health record from within the Health Information Exchange and gives us a basic render of what this document looks like. We have the option then to import the documents or just to cancel viewing it. So unfortunately, I can't show you importing the documents. That's not working at the moment with this type of document, but we can at least pull it down and have a look at it. So now that we've got a person in the system and we can view their previous clinical information, the next thing to do is we can actually continue with this patient's visits and enter some new details. So I'll just start by creating a visit. So I'm going to create an anti-bottom summary visit type for this patient. And then once we've got the visit created, we can enter a form. I'm just going to enter some random details into this form. All right, and that's just pretty standard OpenMRS stuff with form entry. Visits with an extra encounter added. What we're able to do with the Health Information Exchange modules is share that back to the shared health record to make it available to other sites that want to use that information. The HIE Documents tab, and we also have this Export Patient Data option. So what this enables us to do is to select what we want to export. So I can just say extract the most recent encounters from all the data that we have. And I want to choose, say, an anti-party summary template. So what this will do is it'll generate a document that we can share in a particular format, a particular template of documents. So this is a CDA template that it will produce. And what it'll then sort of build up that document. We can preview it. And then we have the option to, if we're happy with it, share it with the Health Information Exchange. And what that will do is it'll send it to the shared health record, persist it there, and the shared health record will also try to break it down into discrete data elements and store it sort of discretely at a national level as well. Okay, so get a basic view again of what the document we're sharing looks like. And then we're able to share it with the Exchange. And if you have a look, so while it's doing that, can see all the background messages that have been processed. So this, what I'm looking at now is the OpenHIE tool that basically acts as an interoperability layer between all these point of care systems and the sort of the national level services like the shared health record and the client registry, and capturing all the requests that are going through to the backend servers. It gives you a view of what's actually happening and if things are working successfully from a data integration point of view. It also handles the security and auditing sides of things. So we can see that we just had a successful post to the XDS repository, which is basically the shared health record. So we're able to store a clinical document. So OpenHIE will actually give you all the details of that transaction as well. They can get quite large, but the main thing to see is it just was successful. And you can see, as well as it being successful, there were a few other things that took place on its route. So we're able to resolve the person's identifier. So the identifier that was sent in the actual documents was resolved to an enterprise identifier using the client registry. And it was able to actually pass the contents of the document. So it was a well-formed document as well. So just showed you some extra things that happened within the OpenHIE while the document is being processed. So if we go back to our HIE Documents tab, or refresh this, we'll now see that there's another document available for this patient, the one that we just shared. So that's now been shared with the exchanges, now available to other systems, just like you're seeing here. So if I click on View, and once again, it'll pull down that same document that we just shared and give us a sort of a representation of that. Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to share today. I sort of rushed through it after we had the audio issues. I hope that was still fairly clear. But yeah, so maybe I'll just go back to what I was saying in the beginning, in case that didn't come through clearly before. So we're trying to just show that this demo system that we have running on OpenMRS at the moment, it's not the most ideal, and it's been sort of pulled together from a number of different modules developed by a number of different parties, is to show that what OpenHIE can do from a demonstration point of view, and basically shows how you can import the patient's record and then share clinical information to a national exchange, and then get that basically pulled back down on in another site. We're currently working on a replacement for this that will use some of the new FIRE standards that have come out for doing this sort of work. And that'll hopefully, it'll also use our new backend services that are FIRE aware to do that. So hopefully we're using this as sort of a testing ground to build a bigger and better demo that we hope people can start to use as sort of a base application to do this in production. So it's more than just a sort of a demo piece of software, something that people could actually start to base implementations off of. So that's sort of our plan for the future. Cool. So any questions, and am I still on?
Yeah, no, your audio works flawlessly now. So when you're sharing the document with the HIE, at that point, is that what is it that's responsible for creating the list of options of ways to share? Are those like, various handlers or something that gets registered, or like when you went to share a document for the patient, there was some choices of different things to share. I'm just curious. Yeah, here.
So there's a few different templates, and these are basically exactly what you say. They're handlers that can generate different templates.
Is there any?
So it's possible to add your own.
Is there any room in that for a handler to do some interaction with the user?
Not at this point.
Okay.
So this was a module actually developed by the Mohawk team, so I can't speak about it too in depth, but at this point it was just a template that would basically pull out data from existing encounters and then try to put it into the template.
Okay.
But what are you thinking? I mean,
well,
that could be a useful extension.
It's just a question that came up when we were talking about our case-based reporting tools. We're creating a module to with the CDC to help implementations do surveillance and report cases to an HIE. And when we saw the demo and saw this demo, the thought was, well, is it possible someone through this process could say, oh, I want to do a case report? But for us, the case report is not just pulling data out of the systems, it's also maybe asking a few questions. And so, at first blush, it looked like, well, we don't really fit here, because typically case reports are triggered from the data. But it is possible through the case-based reporting module to manually create a case report, and we could point people to that. But the thought was, well, maybe here's another place where someone might come in and say, hey, I want to send a case report to my HIE, but we need to be able to funnel them through some interaction to maybe fill in some bits before we'd have the full document.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And so what we're trying to do with our new demo is we're looking quite closely at the work you guys have done on the case-based surveillance module to sort of generate the case report from triggers. But what we're also trying to do is exactly what you're saying, have a way for a person to manually go through the steps of creating a case report, just to make it easy. And if someone doesn't have an existing OpenMRS implementation or existing forms that capture the right information, it would be pretty useful to be able to do that. Also to capture things that aren't typically captured in OpenMRS, aren't always captured in OpenMRS, like labs and other data that comes from various locations, like pharmacy data, for example, that might would be useful in the case report as well, because it's often data that spans a number of systems. So we're looking at something to do exactly that, and sort of guide these through a process of creating a full case report, or just at least listing the partial information that their current systems don't cover. So I think we'll, if all goes well, we'll have something to show about that in the future.
Another question was, when you're talking about kind of putting fire support in terms of the the SHR, is there, knowing that that's kind of an OpenMRS instance, have you used or have you looked at coordinating with the work on the fire module that we're trying to get built into the platform?
Right. So we're originally using OpenMRS for OpenSHR portion, which is actually being used in this demo. But since then, when we started doing some more fire work, we actually started with a new tool that we're building in Node.js and with the Mongo database that handles a lot of our fire backend stuff. So we're looking at building it in that at the moment.
Okay.
So, but we are looking at interfacing with OpenMRS from client side.
Yep.
And I think there we might be able to help out getting at least fire communications coming from OpenMRS, which is a bit different, I think, from what what the REST module is. What the fire interactions are doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Sort of more sending than receiving, but we're definitely keen to get involved, at least have added fire support for OpenMRS.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any other questions from folks? All right.
Well, maybe I can actually ask the questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have, 'cause as we're going through this process, we're going to start to, build out the tool that actually generates these case reports, as I was saying. So we're hoping to use some of the OpenMRS 2.0 work, and I was just wondering what thoughts on the best ways to tackle that are. Do you think it's the sort of custom forms that we produce, or is there a better way? I'm not fully up to date with the current OpenMRS developments. Where even I've seen some people just using custom Angular apps with the OpenMRS backend. I'm just wondering, from a technical perspective, what's a good way to tackle that, in your
Yeah.
opinion?
So it kind of it depends on what you're after. If you're just want to get some basic form collection, there are tools like the HTML form entry has continues to be used fairly widely by folks as a tool to just get basic um, data collection. But there are a number of folks that have for specific, like where it's maybe more than just generic form collection, where they want to have some behavior, that are finding that building client-side Java solutions against REST is more fun and faster than writing JSP or even the Groovy based pages that we had in the like second iteration of the UI. So that's a UI framework that was created, but both of those, the legacy approach, kind of what you're seeing here on this screen, this was JSP based, and there was a GSP, which was kind of the original OpenMRS 2.0, but was still very much a here's how to build a web page that's OpenMRS specific approach, um, and more folks I think nowadays are preferring to, when they're building solutions, um, and that's more like specific behavior. So if you wanted to add some functionality to OpenMRS, um, a, right now a fairly flexible and generic approach is to create an open web app, which allows you to basically do JavaScript, Angular or React against a REST backend, and folks are leaning that direction. If you just want to set up a OpenMRS instance and do some basic form collection, then HTML form entry is probably the easiest way to do that right now.
Cool, thanks. And that's pretty helpful. And if you set up something like in that open web apps format, where it's just including your own basic custom app, how would that integrate into would you just have sort of a link out to that? And
Yeah, so there's
how does that typically done?
yeah, so it's possible for Open Web App to essentially present an app within the reference application. Um, but we're actually trying to migrate a lot of the administration functions into Open Web Apps themselves, and have at the platform level a way to manage your Open Web Apps and modules. Effectively what I think we're going toward calling add-ons. Um, to have that kind of out of the box as part of the platform, and then and then people are, you may use the reference application as your web application on top of that, or you may have had your bespoke, your own custom application, like whether it be Bomni or Ampath has their point of care system. But the but yeah, in general, you create an open web app that is basically a packaged HTML5 app that expects the REST backends, and that can either be introduced through a module or it can be packaged up as an OWA zip and loaded into an OpenMRS instance, and then it presents itself typically through an app, which is basically like one of the buttons on the dashboard.
Okay, sort of like the DHIS2 approach, I guess. They're doing a very similar thing.
Yep.
With web apps.
Everybody's using iPads and tablets, and so you build what you're used to.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that helps me. I hope this has helped some of you just at least understand what we're trying to work on. Yeah, otherwise I don't have much else from my side.
For giving the demo, I did make a webcast, and I'll cut out the bits about audio downtime, and we'll make it available on YouTube. The
Great, awesome.
yeah, I think I know at least Wycliffe and I would like to chat a little more about what you guys are doing and kind of the work you're planning and the kind of case-based surveillance stuff, just to like we did kind of do what we did before in terms of us kind of showing you the stuff we were doing, is going to do another call where you can show us that, but I don't think that this isn't the place for that right now. So
yeah, definitely. I'd be keen to do that. We're still sort of getting our feet under us in the planning process, but yeah, we're trying to move fast. So let's chat soon.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and kind of giving us a hint of kind of what OpenHIE is doing these days, or what you guys are up to. Is there an OpenHIE meeting planned? I know when we were at Uganda, there was some talk of planning an OpenHIE meeting. Has that taken form?
It's still under discussion, but I believe there's something planned for Tanzania. I think it's going to be either end of June or end of July. It might be end of July when that's taking place. At least planned for now. There's nothing official.
Okay.
But there's discussion happening, so keep an eye out for that if anyone's interested.
Cool. And for folks that are interested in learning more about OpenHIE, is the best place to just ohie.org, or is there where's the best place? Where do you typically want to send people?
Sure, ohie.org is always a good one. Then probably the most information is on the wiki, which is linked to from that main page as well. So what you're seeing now on the screen share is the demo wiki page. But there's a number of other pages, particularly the OpenHIE workflows page, which will kind of go through the details of how OpenHIE works as an architecture. So there's also on this demo page, I actually link out to the ones that are relevant in this demo, so you can use that as a good guideline. But yeah, pretty much the OpenHIE standing, and then dive into the wiki for any more details.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you so much. One last chance. Any questions from folks? Otherwise, we'll call it. All right. Well, thanks, Ryan, for joining, and we will, I think, see you in cyberspace.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Sure.